There's so many reasons why you might feel discouraged as a reseller. I've been there too. Maybe you feel like you're pouring your time, your energy, and your money into this thing that isn't giving you the return, the success, or the joy you'd expected. Maybe you stumbled on this video while you're avoiding listing because you feel like, what's the point? Well, hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm a part-time reseller based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And while I've made some great sales on Poshmark and even have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to making videos about reselling, there are definitely moments when I feel discouraged too. Today, I'm going to share 5 questions to ask yourself when you're feeling discouraged in your reselling business and maybe you want to quit. I want to start by saying your feelings are valid. When you're feeling discouraged, I'd encourage you to start with one simple question. Why? If you've ever read any of Simon Sinek's books or heard him on podcasts or heard him speak, you'll know that he's a big fan of the question why, and it can really be a powerful question. When you're feeling down, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Do a little digging and get really honest with yourself and figure out what's coming up for you. Are you feeling discouraged because you put a lot of time into reselling? Are you feeling discouraged because not only have you put time into it, but you're doing reselling tasks instead of doing other things? Are you feeling like you've spent a lot of money on reselling and you're not seeing the return? Are you disappointed in the way that things have turned out? Get honest with yourself and figure out what's coming up for you. I often find that when I feel discouraged or down about reselling, it's often when there's been a few different things that have happened. And maybe some of them are related to reselling, but also maybe some of them are just in my regular day-to-day life. So maybe you get a case opened up against you and you're like, okay, that happened and it's fine. But then you get a second case opened up against you and that's when you start to feel down. Or maybe your sales grind to a halt when you feel like you've put so much time and energy into your business. Or maybe you get a bad review the same day you also get some bad health news. I find it's often when those things add up and you just feel like you can't take it anymore, that's when I feel really discouraged. So when you feel those feelings coming up for you and you're feeling discouraged, down on yourself, and not into reselling, ask yourself why. The second question to ask yourself is probably going to sound pretty familiar, but I promise I'm going to take it in a different direction. It's to ask yourself why, but why am I doing this? We all start reselling for so many different reasons. And often our reasons and the way that we work on a reselling business evolves over time. When I started reselling, I thought it was going to be a casual thing. I was going to sell a few things that had been hanging in my closet, didn't fit anymore, or I didn't enjoy anymore, and I was going to make some money back from them, and that was going to be it. Little did I know it was going to turn into a business for me, and it was going to be something that I worked at. When you feel discouraged with your reselling business, bringing yourself back to your why can be really empowering. It can remind you of the reason you're doing this in the first place. Maybe it is just to get rid of some clothes in your closet because they don't fit anymore. But maybe it's to make money for a specific purpose or your family. Maybe it's because you want to get out of your 9-to-5 job and you want to pursue this more seriously. Maybe you have a specific goal in mind that you're working towards. There's so many things that reselling can help you do. And when you bring yourself back to that why, you can be reminded of the big picture rather than just this small moment in time. When you're feeling discouraged, the third thing I would encourage you to ask yourself is, am I comparing myself to other people? Ooh! Comparison. Oh my gosh. In this world of curated Instagram feeds and glossy social media, it's really easy to look at someone else and say, oh my gosh, they have everything I want. They're having so much success. They're so happy. They have everything. Why don't I have that too? And with reselling, it's so easy to get into that comparison trap because we see these photos of folks with all of these packages that they're mailing out or going to the thrift store and finding all of these fantastical brands. And you're like, cool, just over here, not having that much success, I'll be fine. With anything in life, but especially reselling and having your own business, it's gotta be you versus you. You can't look at a teeny tiny square on Instagram and know the whole picture and the whole story. When we see those photos of all sorts of packages, we have no idea how much someone paid for those items, how much profit they actually made, or what's actually in there. When we see someone's cart full of beautiful items, we have no idea where they live, how much they paid for these items, and what return they're actually gonna get, and if they're items that are actually going to sell quickly. We have no idea what's happening on the other side of the camera and what the person might be facing in their life. So I would say if you find yourself feeling discouraged or frustrated or just angry because you're not having the same perceived success as other folks you see on social media, we need to back away a little bit. And And maybe that means taking a break from social media. Maybe it means unfollowing certain people or unsubscribing. There's a great feature on Instagram that allows you to mute people's posts. And if you find those feelings bubbling up for yourself, don't subject yourself to that. Or maybe just take a social media break altogether. If you ask yourself the question, why am I feeling this way? And it is because of other people's success and you not having that same level of success, and that's bringing you down, we need to find a way around that. Coming back to your why can definitely help. Taking a break from social media or unfollowing folks who don't spark joy anymore. And also just remembering that it's you versus you. All of those things can really help if you're feeling frustrated because you're comparing yourself to other people. The fourth thing to ask yourself is, what is within my control to change? Some of the reasons why you might feel frustrated with reselling are outside your control. I recently shared a video about the changes that Poshmark Canada had made to their shipping rates in Canada, and a lot of folks felt frustrated by that because the price had increased. But that's not up to us. That's up to Poshmark and Canada Post. You might be feeling frustrated because you can't find great items to resell, or maybe you feel like your items aren't moving fast enough. And while you can't personally change the price of shipping on Poshmark or magically make your local thrift store have different items, there are things that you can do that are within your control. So if you're feeling frustrated with your reselling platform, maybe it's time to have a look at a different platform. If it's the Poshmark fees and shipping costs that are frustrating you, maybe it's time to look at eBay or Depop or Etsy or Facebook Marketplace or one of the other reselling platforms that are available to you. If you can't find great items to resell where you live, maybe it's time to look at other options of where you could purchase items. Look at online, look at retail arbitrage, talk to your friends, and see what you can find to add to your closet to resell. If you find that your items aren't moving, get really honest with yourself. Are these items that people want to buy? And if they are, what can you do to improve your listings? Is it your titles? Is it your photos? Is it your descriptions? Is it time to relist? Depending on where you're at with your reselling, you might not want to hear some of these things right now, but it's true. When it comes to your business, there are things within your control that you can change to get the result that you want. And sometimes when you're frustrated, you just need to take a moment and take a step back. Give yourself a moment to feel what you're feeling and then move forward and work towards your goal. So if you're feeling frustrated, figure out the things that are within your control to change and figure out what you need to do in order to have a different result. And the fifth question I'd encourage you to ask yourself would be, what needs to happen in order for me to turn this around? And that's assuming you want to turn it around. Because maybe you're feeling frustrated and you're like, we're done here. And that's okay too. It's really important to give yourself permission to change course. If reselling isn't sparking joy and you feel that feeling over and over and over again, it might be time to reassess. And that's okay. Maybe you give yourself a moment, a break, and say, is this thing that I'm doing really what I want to be doing? And if the answer is no, you can scale back. You can find something else to spark joy and be done with it. And that's okay. But if you find yourself feeling frustrated, you get really clear on why that's coming up for you. You get really clear on your overall why and why you're doing this in the first place. Get yourself out of the comparison trap and you figure out the things that are within your control to change. Then you can get a game plan of what needs to happen for you to turn this around and feel better. It might be some of the strategies that I shared about the things that are within your control and having a look at those. It might be giving yourself more of a routine so you have specified hours and times that you work on your reselling business and make sure that you're doing the other things in your life that you enjoy. It might be having a look at your business model and see if what you're doing is working. It might also be about planning for slower seasons and figuring out what your business will actually look like during those times and when your business picks up. Every entrepreneurial journey is going to have ups and downs, and reselling is no different. And so it's about figuring out what you can do in those moments that are frustrating and when you feel discouraged, and what's within your control to change that will help you to rise above. As I shared at the beginning, it's so normal to feel frustrated and discouraged from time to time. But it's about how you approach those moments and what you do that will help you get a different result. If there have been times where you felt frustrated or discouraged with your reselling business, I would love to hear in the comments what you did to turn it around. It's normal and expected for there to be bumps in the road and for you to feel frustrated by things that are happening. But I hope that you can reconnect with your why, remember why you're doing this and what about it is bringing you joy, so that you can come back on the other side and just keep doing an amazing job. When I feel discouraged with reselling, I like to do a lot of these things. I'll also connect with a friend, either one who does reselling or doesn't do reselling, and just talk about what I'm feeling. I find that to be really helpful. I also make sure that I'm taking good care of myself, and so getting away from my computer or my phone and taking a walk, getting outside, that can just make a really big difference to clear my head. If you are consistent and you continue to put the work in, the results will follow. Sometimes it just takes time. And if you're ever feeling frustrated and just need to vent, my DMs are always open. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're not already subscribed, now would be an awesome time to do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.